Today's project is going to be a Mexican retablo. These are little scenes that they put together in Mexico that show either a landscape or sometimes even the inside of a room with everything in miniature. They're really cute. And we're going to make this one. You will need to get out of your materials bag, the Retablo bag, and out of your toolbox, you'll need glue, which I have laying down so the glue isn't as far away from the tip as it was before, a Sharpie, and then you'll need to get from your parents a pair of sewing scissors. Sewing scissors are not like paper scissors. They're much sharper and they will cut the cloth nicely. You never use sewing scissors to cut paper or cardboard because that will dull them, and the whole fun of a pair of sewing scissors is that they're always very sharp. So I have mine here. Looking at the Retablo, the thing that happens first, the thing that happens in the very, very back is the blue sky. Pardon me. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And then things will happen in layers after that. This one you see is the next one that goes on. And then this one goes on. And then this one goes on. Pardon me. I'm going to take my sky and lay it in there. It should fit pretty well. I want to, of course, maximize it to the top. If I put my sky here and then start putting mountains here, I'm not going to want to see that. So that needs to be covered completely. You don't need a lot of glue for this. If you put on too much glue, it will show. So I'm just going to kind of quickly put that on. I could even, especially for the blue, because it is the lightest one and it'll show the glue lines. If I leave them as glue lines, I'm going to flatten that right out. And now it's just a light layer of glue. And carefully place the sky in. And rub my fingers across it to make sure that it lays very flat. There's my sky. I plan to have the first mountain be blue. That's going to go in here like this. I have to decide whether I want that to be used in the picture or that. Personally, I like this better, so I'm going to use this side and I'm going to cut a mountain. Now I'm thinking at the same time that the second mountain is coming in, and I know that I want to use this part of this pretty red cloth. Alternatively, this part, I don't want to cut that away to make the mountain because that would be sad. That's a really cool piece of the cloth. So I want the mountain on this side to include that. So I think I'll have this mountain do this and I'll have this mountain do that. That's just thinking ahead before I cut my blue. It's always best to cut conservatively. That is to say, cut less than you think you need, because it's a lot easier to cut a little bit more. It's very difficult to put it back on again once it's been cut off. But that looks pretty good for a hillside in the background. And now I can make my other mountain come and do this. Mountains are never really smooth. They're always a natural shape. So let's see how this looks. I don't want to have them on the same level because that's a little boring. I'll bring this one down a little bit. And now that starts to look like a problem, because that doesn't look the way mountains look as they go into the distance. So it was good that I cut only a little bit off of the blue, because now I can go back and cut a little bit more off of the blue to make it look the way I want. We'll cut this a little deeper and make the mountain shape. Now you see I've got a little bit of a gap over here, but that's not a problem because that's going to be covered by the red. That looks pretty good. And then I have one more spot here for my burgundy to come, which will be where my figures are going to be. So I like this a lot. I need to cut off here at the bottom so that they both fit into the frame. So that one needs to be cut there. And this one, I'm just measuring it against the frame here, needs to be cut there. You can draw a line if you want, if you feel better before you cut. I've been cutting cloth for a lot of years, so I don't feel nervous about cutting freehand. Okay, I have to remember that this is going to go this way and not this way, because this cool cloth is visible. I mean, it's pretty from both sides. So, but I want to remember that I want this to be over here, and the back side of it isn't as pretty. So I do want it to be like that, which means that the blue needs to be hanging out on the left-hand side. If I turn the blue over and put the glue onto the cloth itself instead of onto the sky that's already in the frame, I will have less chance of putting glue where it's going to be visible later. And this heavy blue cloth is much heavier than the sky, so I don't need to worry about being able to see glue lines through it when it's done. Pat that into the corners and check it again against my red. I like the fact that this is this high and then this is down lower because that's what I wanted in my picture. Flip this over so that the glue, oh wait a minute, I forgot to cut that one yet. Let's do this. I need to check it again. You can never check it too many times to see where it's going to be. Now I want it to be about here. I'm not going to worry about this gap down here because it's going to be covered by the burgundy. I turn it over to make sure that the side gets the glue that wants the glue. Doesn't need to be a lot of glue, but it does want to come out to the edges so that the edges will stay stuck. Poke this into the corner. Different heights on the mountains. Looking good. This is going to be my foreground. In the class sample, you see this is where the figures are. I have this being a solid color, not a fancy Guatemalan cloth, because that way the figures can stand out a little bit better. So this will be at least down to the bottom, and then how high do I want the mountain to be? I believe I want to have it high on this side and then going down on that side. And you know what? Let's just do it with a Sharpie so that I get it in the right spot. So kind of that. Checking underneath. Now, when I cut it off, I need to take that line off, of course. So here is my third mountaintop. And this one will come all the way down to the bottom, covering up all of the inconsistencies back there. Again, I want to flip it over to give it glue. My dog and cat are having a good time with this class. And I'll want to get this pretty much out to the edge so that the edges will stick. And the important thing with the burgundy is that it goes all the way into the bottom of the frame. All right, that now is my background for the little things that are coming. The little things being my house and my figures. You can decide where you want to put your people. They can be in a circle, they can be dancing, they can be in a line, they can be anywhere you like. This is going to be my house. And I'll have the house a little bit higher than the figures to give it kind of some dimensionality to it. A little bit of glue puts together the house. And if you see a little bit of glue squeezing out the side, don't worry about that. It dries clear and it will not be as obvious once it's clear. And I'm going to give my house a door with a Sharpie. And I'm also going to give it some thatch looking stuff up on the top. Now I just need to place my people. I can either have them close to the house or farther away. If I have them farther away, it gives the illusion that the house is farther into the distance. So I will do this, and to get the figures to stay, all they need is a little splotch of glue like that they can be pressed into. And there's my finished retablo. I'll need to leave it undisturbed for a little while to make sure that it can dry completely, and then it'll be ready to hang on the wall.